As we breathe that in, as we welcome our online family, glad to have you with us this morning. Glad to have whoever's watching this talk tonight, tomorrow, 3 months from now. You'd be surprised now how late and how far away people actually watch this service. So grateful to have you here. So join me in reminding ourselves to be open. So I open my mind. I open my heart. I open my whole being to Spirit. We have two wonderful practitioners. As you saw there, we have Reverend Carrie Masters, and we have Susan Einhorn, who looks a whole lot like, where is she? She led the meditation. We have the almost Reverend Buffy, who's substituting for Susan Einhorn. And somewhere she's holding consciousness for us, I hope. So, anyways, and Reverend Carrie will give us our opening prayer.
Thank you, Reverend David. I am so grateful to be right here this morning with all of you and with all of you online. So I invite you to be grateful with me for that. Meanwhile, let's close our outer eyes and move into that sacred space that is the very core of our being. We might say it's our heart space or a chakra space. It is that space within us which is the divine, beating our heart, breathing our breath. It is that divine essence that we know as God, infinite presence, spirit, source, Henry, whatever we want to call it. We know that this infinite presence is everywhere present in all the things that we can see and all those tiny little things we can't see, and sometimes big things that we can't see. What I know is that this infinite presence expresses itself in and through and as each one of us here this morning and for the days ahead. I speak my word this morning for our beautiful Center for Spiritual Living, Olympia, knowing that we continue to grow and thrive and be lifted up into a new awareness of who we are. We reflect how we are, and we reflect each other. I speak my word to know that our reflection is pure and clear and filled with love. I speak my word to know that our wonderful musician is lifting us up with music. Our technical team is lifting us up with their ability to do all of those things that bring this service into view for us. And we are lifted up by the words that Reverend David speaks this morning. And I know that he is lifted up as he presents his message to us today. I give thanks for all of us, for the practitioners, for the volunteers, for the youth, for our youth leader. I give thanks for all of it, for it is all beautiful and happy and a blessing to us all. I give thanks that my words are already being operated on by that divine creative presence that we call the law. The law has already said yes. And so we can release this word into that law knowing it is already done, whole and perfect. And I invite us to say and claim together, and so it is. We'll now have a brief moment of silence.
We're working this whole month on the idea of wholeness, of the idea of whole no matter what. That's whole, W-H-O-L-E, by the way, just to be really clear. And today we're looking at the idea of who I am reflects how I am. I love how that talk takes the word who and transfers it into how, yes? Okay, a little play on the word there. Who I am reflects how I am. Ernest Holmes says, undoubtedly we are surrounded by and immersed in a perfect life, it's a capital L life, a perfect life, a complete, normal, happy, sane, harmonious, and peaceful existence. Undoubtedly. And then he goes on to say, all in italics, but only as much of this life as we embody will really become ours to use. Only as much as we embody. It's all there. How much of it are we taking in? How much are we letting in? He also says a person must become more if he or she wishes to draw a greater good into their life. How many of you would like to draw a greater good into your life? Always. I hope so. Because that's really, I mean, there's an infinite amount of good available, so how much do you want to draw in? A lot of it. Okay? So we have to become more. That's what today's talk is. We have to become more. Now, if I ask you, who are you? We can tell ourselves what I call the proper religious science answers, yes? I am whole, complete, and perfect just as I am. I am a loving being. I am all this stuff. I used to work when I was in Seattle working with practitioner clients, and they would run up against some place where their wall is. It's just like, well, tell me what's the truth of you? And I would get what I call the pat religious science answer. And I would say, okay, now, what do you really believe is the truth of you? Oh, based on how your life is looking at the moment. Oh, that's what I'm really believing I am, yes? Because it's showing up out here. It's showing up out here. So who I really am is what I really believe I am and who I really believe I am, which is usually the result of years of conditioning and old thoughts. Yes? Okay. We can tell ourselves how loving and open we are and then find ourselves treating people badly when they don't do things the way that we think they should. Breathe. We've all done it, yes? Just look at your neighbor and say, I've done that, and I'll bet you have too. We can say we want to lose weight and be healthier, but not change a thing and continue to have the same physical body experience as before, yes? Because we haven't become something different. You ready? We can stand in church and sing everybody into the circle and then keep some people out. Breathe. We can read our purpose statement every Sunday, open, welcoming, and expanding community that learns, lives, and shares spiritual principles, but not expand, not actively engage in learning and living, and wonder why our center doesn't grow. Breathe. This is not to make anybody wrong. This is just noticing. We have to become aware. See, sometimes if we want to become more, we have to become aware of what we are first, yes? Louise Hay says we can't clean our house if we can't see the dirt. Okay? So it's okay to just look and say, oh, that's where we are. Yes? Okay. That's all this is. It's just an observation. And usually, see, every community meeting I've been in for the last 9 years, people say, we want to grow, right? And have you noticed we're at about the same 50 people that we were 9 years ago? Not the same people, faces have changed, but the same number. So what does that say about the real consciousness, the real desire of the center? We like our little group. She's sitting up here. If you want to join her. I'm playing usher from up here. Yeah, I do love this view, yes. And then what also happens is, when that happens, our tendency is to find external things to blame. To blame, yes? We say we want to change our eating and our body, but now's not a good time because it's Christmas or it's summer or it's, this is going on or that is going on, I'm too busy. We find outer excuses, yes? Okay? We say we're not growing because of, we're kind of post-pandemic, or we don't have enough parking, or my favorite one, the minister. When I was in my previous church, we would have new people come in. They would come up to me after the service and say, oh my God, your talk is so wonderful. I love this place. And by the third Sunday, it was like clockwork. By the third Sunday, they would come up and say, I love your talk and I love your energy. But the conversations that are happening in that lunchroom after church are toxic and I can't stay. And then the community would look at me and say, the minister's not growing the church. So we find all these outside excuses, okay? When the real reason is we're more committed to comfort, to staying the same, than we are to real growth, to becoming who we really want to be, who we really declare that we are, who our soul is calling us to be. Yes? Okay. And we do that not because we're bad people. We remember last week we talked about no bad parts, right? Okay, so there's no bad parts. Nudge your neighbor and say, despite what he's saying, you're not a bad person. Or anybody else has ever said. But we do it because of old conditioning and habits, and because, frankly, it takes effort to change. Yes? Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest today. I know, usually I lie, but today I'm going to be honest. I'm feeling in an Old Testament prophet sort of mood today. So last month, I sent out an email to 47 people, all of our pledgers, inviting them to write 1 or 2 sentences about what they love about this place. I even gave 3 questions, and sent it off to either me or Sandy. Do you know how many responses I got to that? Susan Strobel. You did too? You must have sent it straight to Sandy, right?
Sandy, whatever link you have.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, too. Do we really want to grow? Do we really want to share and talk about this place? Even just as something as simple as that. So let's be honest, most of us are lazy. That includes me, yes? Okay? We're lazy, and we'd rather not put in the effort, and besides, we're familiar with our current way of doing things in all of our life, right? This is not just about our church. How we do church is how we do the rest of our life. How we do the rest of our life is how we do church, because how we do one thing is how we do everything, yes? Our beliefs, our stuff shows up everywhere. Who we are is who we become, is how we are. So those programmed ways of being have created neural pathways in our brain, which are so much easier to follow, yes? Because we know how to do it. The mental equivalence class was watching a Joe Dispenza video this past week. And he talks about that only 1 to 5% of our mind is our conscious mind we're choosing with. The other 95 to 99% is our unconscious mind. And he says our body is our unconscious mind. I don't quite agree with that. I believe our body is our picturing of our unconscious mind, subconscious mind. But still, if you wonder why I invite you to get up and move sometimes during songs and stuff like that, it's to move the mind, yes? To get that unconscious starting to circulate a little bit, yes? So we can bring it to consciousness, because we can't change it if we don't know about it. We can't change it if we don't bring it up. That's why there's no bad parts. There's nothing that we have to hide and be ashamed of about if we're not doing stuff. It's just we need to become aware of what's going on there that causes us to do the stuff we're doing, yes? Okay. And then from that point where we become aware of it, oh, that's what's going on, then I can change it. Then I can do something different. So these neural pathways are easier to follow. And let's be honest again, change can be uncomfortable. Yes? Okay. And many of us don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to venture into that scary place known as uncertainty, which is where change takes us. Because where we are, we know how to do everything, right? Even if it's really dysfunctional, I know how to survive this dysfunctional place that I'm in. Yes? Yeah. And change puts us into uncertainty to a place that I might not know how to survive and live in that place. And our mind gets scared. We're all 2-year-olds at heart, yes? Or at least we have that aspect of us still alive within us. And so it gets scary when things change. So, but uncertainty, unfortunately, like it or not, is the path we must take to become more. To get where we want to go. Paul said, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If we want to shift, if we want a transformation, a form shifting, we have to do something new in our mind. We're always creating our future in our minds, yes? We're constantly, whatever we visualize, whatever we're seeing, we're constantly creating our future in our minds, and most of the time we're creating the same future as what we had in the past and what we have in the present, because that's what we know. We wake up in the morning, we do the same routine, we go to the same place to work, we go to the same place, and get on our computer or whatever, we look at the same programs, we listen to the same news, we do the same thing over and over again, we take the same way to church, we take the same way to the grocery store, we take the same, and then we wonder why we don't change. Here's an assignment for you this week. Somewhere where you normally drive to, drive a different way. Drive a way you haven't been before. It might not be the shortest, most efficient way. Drive somewhere different. Would you be willing to do that and play with that? Just to do something different, just to decondition your mind. Just to shake it up. Visualizing the future we truly want and taking actual steps towards manifesting that future takes effort, takes time. Instead, when something changes, we get upset if anything disrupts our normal. Yes? Yes, we do. I do. So this past year I've been playing with how we do service, how we do church, intending to expand and deepen our experience. And it's been fascinating to watch the reactions to these various ways, with everything from loving it to mild discomfort, which is all of our old ideas about how church should be, yes? Okay? To, in a few cases, extreme upset. That we've got the chairs in a certain way. Breathe. Here's the thing about upset and discomfort. It's a doorway to seeing within what is the sacred cow belief that is being challenged right now. It's a doorway within. Usually when we get upset, we want to go out there. Change that out there, blame that out there, shift that out there, instead of saying, wow, what is that revealing about me? At the beginning of the year, I started off with the revolutionary agreements, our 12 revolutionary agreements, yes? They're on the board out there just past the New Here table if you want to remind yourself of them. Number 3 was, I agree to look within when I'm upset. And the reason for that is, upset is a fabulous time to say, ooh, something just juicy got triggered for me. What is it? So I can shift it. Course in Miracles also reminds us that we're never upset for the reason we think we are. I hate that one. When we get upset, most of us point outward, saying that there's a person or thing out there making me feel upset, angry, whatever it is. When really, I'm making myself feel whatever it is, about that person or situation. Yes? When we realize that we're making ourselves feel a certain way, then we can ask empowering questions such as, what belief or pattern is being triggered within me? What is it that's getting triggered by this situation? And then we can thank that person for triggering us. We don't have to necessarily do it out loud, but we can at least do it internally. I was just talking with Reverend Carey before the service. Every divorce I've gone through, and I've gone through several, has been a stepping stone to something better, has lifted me up to something more, right? And I can be grateful to those people. And so when we start asking questions like, what's being triggered within me, this can lead us to insights about ourselves and growing and becoming more. Throughout this time that we've been playing with this, various people have told me how much they love this particular way of doing things, whatever this particular way is. And other people have said how much they dislike this particular way of doing things. The same way, right? Yes? It's a belief in what I call, I want church my way. Breathe. Which is a subset of, I want life my way. Life should be my way, right? Here's the thing, there's 8 billion my ways on the planet right now, 8+ billion. They don't all agree. Have you noticed? Some of them are pretty kind of like really opposite of each other. Life happens its way, not my way. And the microcosm of church, of this community, can be a place where we learn in relative safety, because nobody's going to, attack you. Maybe say a couple things, but that's about it. In relative safety, we can learn about our expectations, on our beliefs, and we can ask, does this belief actually help me create the life I truly want? And is this thing so important that I should spend all this energy and dump all these hormones of stress into my body about them? Right? I find when I get angry at somebody, it's like, if I can catch myself, it's like, do I really want to dump all that into my body? And the answer is usually no. Once in a while it's, F yes, I do. But, usually I get over it. So we get to ask ourselves the question as a community, and in your own life, but as a community, why do we come here? Is it just a place to hear a nice talk, except today? Some good music and hang out with nice people? Or do we really mean it when we say expanding and learning and living and sharing spiritual principles? Last week, Richard Rohr was talking about, and he's doing it this week too, apparently, the Beatitudes, right? Jesus' Beatitudes. Sandy, you should take a look at Richard Rohr, because I saw your email on Friday writing about the Beatitudes. Sandy sends out a Friday email. It's a kind of a thought-provoking, wonderful little email. You should get on her list if you want to. Anyways, he had a guest writer on Friday, Debbie Thomas, who said the Beatitudes are not meant to settle and soothe us. They're meant to startle us awake. Yes, they are pastoral, and yes, they give us hope. But Christian hope is not a sedative. Christian hope gets us up and out the door. And what I want to say is science of mind isn't a sedative. The people who started this center 21 years ago didn't intend for us to just hang out together. They desperately wanted a religious science center in Olympia. There was a unity, long functioning, but they wanted this particular teaching, and so they could practice it together and engage in it together. So this teaching is a call to be more. If we're living here in an infinite amount of good, in an infinite presence, we're being called to be more of that, to expand ourselves, to allow ourselves to be expanded, really. To say yes, to surrender from where I have been stuck and what I might have believed to something even greater. And surrender doesn't always feel good, yes? It's a letting go of my way. Michael Beckwith talks about surrendering into excellence. It's not a surrender into, I just give up. No, it's a surrender into something far more wonderful. But I have to let go of the old. So we can help create we're called to be more so we can help both create a better personal life for ourselves as well as a more wonderful world. Could it use that? Could the world use that? Could you use a more wonderful life than you have? I don't care how good it is, right? It can be gooder. It can be a lot gooder. In the visioning process that we do, the first question we ask, which is, what is Spirit's highest idea about whatever it is that we're visioning, calls us to become aware of the future that is wanting to be expressed through us. It's to take us out of the same old, repeating the same old thing. It lifts us up to a higher consciousness. What is the highest aspect of ourselves? We'll call it Spirit, God, whatever you want to call it. What is its highest idea that wants to be expressed through us? Remember, we're always creating our future. Remember, we're always creating our future, consciously or unconsciously. So it's asking us to consciously create. And then the process asks two powerful questions. The first one is, what must I become in order to allow this vision to manifest? And then the second question is, what must I unbecome or release to allow this vision of the future to manifest? So I'm going to invite you this week to take a little time for a couple of things. The first one is to ask, what is the future I truly want? What is the future that is being truly called forward through me? Do I really want it? And here's a counter question to that, because sometimes we say, well, it's too much trouble. Here's the other question. What's it going to cost you to not have that future? See, if I'm talking about my body and my health, what's it going to cost me if I keep on treating my body the same way that I have been for the last 10 years? What's it going to cost me if I don't have this future that my heart is just calling for and craving for? And the second part of that, of what I invite you to do this week, is once you get an answer to that, some answer, then ask, what or who must I become? And what or who must I let go of? And that who that I might let go of might be some aspect of myself. Not necessarily a person out here. Some aspect of myself for that vision to manifest. And then I'm going to give you a third process. It's a tough one. It's a hard one. This week, write 2 sentences about what you love about this center and either send them to Sandy or myself so we can put them on the website so we can share what it is we love about this center with people who come to our website. Would you be willing to play with those 3 practices? Great. I am too. I want to close with a quote from Lama Surya Das, who said, with every breath, the old moment is lost. A new moment arrives. We exhale and let go of the old moment. It is lost to us. In doing so, we let go of the person we used to be. We inhale and breathe in the moment that is becoming. In doing so, we welcome the person we are becoming. We repeat the process. This is meditation. This is renewal. This is life. We are always letting go. We are always breathing in something new. What new do you want to breathe into your life? Do you want it to be the same as what you just let go of? Or do you want it to be something more truly new? And we have an affirmation. Say this with me. I let go of things that do not serve the future I truly want. I become who I truly want to be. One more time. I let go of things that do not serve the future I truly want. I become who I truly want to be. So it is.